Hi, I'm Helen Bentley, partner at EY Studio Plus, and I'm here at Brand Innovators to interview you today. Please tell me who you are and what your role is.
So I'm Aida Moudachirou-Rébois, and I'm the Global General Manager and Senior Vice President at MAC Cosmetics.
What have been the big takeaways that you've found from Cannes this year?
I think there's so much solidarity. I feel I'm a person of feelings more than like words. And I felt like this year people were holding hands on many topics that goes from diversity and inclusion all the way through AI and generative AI and how this is going to impact the way we work moving forward.
I love that idea of holding hands and togetherness, a real sense of collaboration.
Exactly.
People have been saying that AI is a threat to creativity and actually a threat to human collaboration. Is that something you're seeing at MAC, or are you embracing the change?
No, we're embracing AI. I think the formidable thing about AI as we know it today is it could be a co-pilot to your business. So we use it as a production to kind of help with the production flow in the creative asset. So, to save us time, hours and hours of post-editing and things that you don't need to do. So the team can really focus on doing what they do so well, being creative, adding value, finding ideas, working together. I think this is like priceless. And when I look at the world today, I look at all the concerts. Beyonce is in France this weekend.
Yes.
She's going to perform in Paris all weekend. She was in New York a month ago. I was there with my daughters. We just came out of the 2 years of the Taylor Swift Eras tour. I think human connections are not going away. I think experiential is back more than ever. People are buying experiences, and experiences based on interaction with people or consuming things that make them happy. And I think this is amazing. So that's two things happening at the same time. Feels like not connected. One is extremely technology based, the other one is extremely human based. But I think that's the world.
Now, you touched on human experiences. You're known as a company that really cares about its people. You've got over 1,200 members of staff, and they are your storytellers.
Yeah.
How are you empowering them to tell the story of MAC?
Well, Mac is about limitless self-expression. So we are always a brand that enable all ages, all races, all genders to be whoever they want to be. So we are seeing ourselves as a tool for them to be, or a platform to be who they want to be. It's not about telling our stories, it's about telling their stories. What got them there, what almost didn't, why are they at Mac. Everybody has a personal story with Mac. I have my personal story with
Tell
Mac.
me your personal story with MAC.
So my personal story with Mac is I was living in France 20 years ago, about to get married. And, at the time, wedding were not like the big productions that there are today, where you have your makeup artist and you have whatever. You go to the counter, find your look, and then you go producing yourself, for your wedding. So that's what I was doing. So I went to Galeries Lafayette, which is one of the highest end department stores in Paris. And I hit the first counter and I was so excited. I was like, I'm getting married. I'm looking for somebody to help me with my makeup looks. And the lady looked at me and said, oh, but we don't have a shade for you. So that stopped me. And then I was like, okay, no problem. Let me go to the next counter. So second counter, same story. Third counter, same story. Fourth counter, same story. So what was supposed to be the most exciting experience turned into like, oh my God, I don't feel I belong. I don't think I fit here. I've been living in this country for a few years now, but that was a slap in my face. But that fourth counter lady told me also, go check this brand out. They may have something for you. And she pointed me toward the Mac counter. And I got there. I didn't know the brand at the time, like vaguely. The brand was just debuting in France. And the makeup artist sat me on a chair, asked me all the kind of questions, made me feel so much better. I mean, they saw that I was disheveled and I was kind of, desperated. And then they sat me, they listened to me. We worked on look together. They created like 3 looks for me, and I walked out with a bag full of product. That was a brilliant experience. So a brand I didn't really know knew me better than most brands that I knew that I went to as a first. So that's my story with Mac. Inclusivity, and very personable and personal experience with the makeup artist.
That is genuinely a very personal experience for you to share, and one that started out quite negatively but ended beautifully.
Exactly. And that's the story of Mac, and that's what we try to preserve. It's about making sure that nobody feels left out.
I've done a lot of work with Estee Lauder and MAC in particular. And I remember a slogan that one of your executives once said to me, which is we think about the experience of beauty, but also the beauty of experience. And that sounds to me exactly like what you're referring to here. What do you think is coming for the future of customer experience in the makeup sector?
I think for me, going back to the beginning of this conversation, I think it's the human connection. There is nothing more than like having somebody that speaks to you. And I'll just take, an example that we all live through. Like if you think about credit cards or banking services. Today, when you call, you have like 16 bots who tell you press 1, press 2, but the first thing you want is to press 0 to speak to a representative, right? Like when you've been, your credit card has been like frauded, or when something is happening, you want to speak to somebody. You don't want to go through the 7 steps of like press 1 if you want this, press 2, and I think that's the future of service. It always comes back to speaking to somebody that can really listen to you with the whole humanity and making sure that you feel good.
Do you think the age of data-driven marketing is dead and now we're moving into an era of high-touch moments of magic? Or is it really going to have to be that balance between the two, the art and the science?
I think for us, we talk about math and magic at MAC. Math is the data, and it's always going to be very grounded into what consumer wants, where they're going, what their needs are, but like based on quantitative data. But we also use the power of our community for listening. We have 12,000 makeup artists. There's a lot of stories they can tell us because they are with our customer every day, 7 days a week. They know what the consumer wants, at least once the consumer come out of the door. So you have the data before the consumer come in, you have the makeup artist when the consumer is with us, and you have everything else. So I believe that data is still there. It's always going to be useful, helpful as building ground. But I think creativity is how you problem solve through gaps you're seeing that consumers are facing, or opportunities that your business are.
And final question for you. You're a very inspirational person in a very senior role. If you were wanting to inspire the next generation to start their career in marketing or creativity in the beauty industry, what would be the biggest piece of advice you would give them?
Stay agile. When I started marketing 20-something years ago, this has nothing to do with what marketing looks like today. So YouTube was barely born, right? YouTube was born 20 years ago. Actually, YouTube didn't exist when I started. Instagram didn't exist, Facebook, none of the platform where consumer go first today, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, none of those platforms existed. And I think, but what consumers still want is to be delighted, surprised, felt like they heard. The consumer needs are still there. What they're expecting is still the best-in-class services, what I call high-touch interaction with the brands. But the way you can do it has transformed itself like so much, from TV and out-of-home and print for when I started to 1,000 of way of reaching micro communities where they are at their own terms today. So I will say, this is and AI is just getting started. Who knows where we are going to go with AI? Somebody told me that AI is going to do to the humankind and the human beings what the power and the electricity has done to us. So I'm expecting a huge disruption. So buckle up, don't be afraid, go for it, and always remember why you're doing this.
Thank you so much for your inspirational and personal story today at Brand Innovators.
Thank you for having me.